business, one of the major and most critical questions any entrepreneur would ask is how much are they going to charge their product or service? Pricing decision is one of the major key factors that affects marketing, and it can also become your marketing strategy. So today I will be discussing about pricing. By the end of this module, you will be able to know the following. First, outline external and internal factors affecting pricing decisions. Second, contrast the differences between the general pricing approaches. Third, identify the new product pricing strategy of market skimming pricing and market penetration pricing. Fourth, identify how to apply pricing strategies with existing products. Fifth, understand and to be able to apply revenue management. Lastly, discuss the key issues related to pricing changes. So first, let's define what price is. So price is the amount of money charged for the product or the service that the consumers exchange in using for them to use the products or have the product or service itself. Price, to remember, is the only marketing mix that produces revenue. So marketers must have understanding of price and as well as the managers, because too much price can chase the potential customer away, and a little price may leave the company with no revenue at all. Remember that a firm that does not produce enough revenue will eventually goes out of business. So we must be careful of the marketing decisions, the pricing decisions that we will always make for the company. What are the factors that we need to consider in setting price? Here are the internal and the external factors. Let's go with it one by one. Let's discuss first the internal factors. So under the internal factor, we have number one, marketing objectives. Before establishing a price, a company must select a product strategy. If the company has selected a target market and it's actually positioned itself carefully, then its marketing mix strategy, including price, will be more precise. Let's take a look at the example. Four Seasons position its hotel as a luxury hotel and charges a room rate that is higher than the most. In the Philippines, Sogo Hotel and Red Planet have positioned itself as a limited service hotel or a motel, providing more budget limited price for the light travelers or the budget limited travelers. And this market position requires charging a low price. So the strategic decision on market positioning that have a major influence on price. What are the other marketing objectives? Number one, we have current profit maximization. So many companies want to set a price that will maximize the profits and the current profits that they have. And they estimate what demand and cost will be at the different prices and choose the price that will produce the maximum. So the current profit, the cash flow or return or investment, seeking current financial outcomes will be rather than a long run performance. So for example, a company purchased a distressed hotel at a low price. The objective is to run the hotel and show an operating profit and then sell. So if a hotel owner achieves success of a turnaround, then they would have good capital gains. Market share leadership is the second one. So some companies want to maintain a dominant market share position because they believe that the larger you have and or the largest positioning company in the market will be there for the long run with the higher pay, higher market share, and profitability. Moreover, you will have a low cost and the prices will be lower than the others. So let's see an example. So Marriott strives to be the market share leader in its class, and when it opens new hotel, for example, opened a resort in east coast of Australia. So Australia Gold Coast with rates well below market, and low opening rates created demand. So a great hotel with good service created repeat customers, and a strong positive word of mouth. Of course, in 6 months after reopening, then the hotel moved its rates up to the market rates. So such a strategy uses price and other elements and other marketing mix to create awareness for better value than what they have in the competition. Third is the product quality leadership. So the best example that I can give here is the Ritz Carlton chain. It has a construction or acquisition cost per room that can exceed up to $1 million. Can you imagine that? So besides a high capital investment per room, luxury chains have high cost of labor per room. Of course, I've seen there when I worked with the Ritz Carlton New Orleans, and their hotels require a very well qualified staff and a high employee to guest ratio to provide luxury service, because all the prominent people are always doing or are always getting in there in the Ritz Carlton chain. So when I was in New Orleans, we used to cater with a lot of Hollywood artists. We had Beyonce, we have Kanye, we have the basketball superstars in there. So once we had Ferdinand Vera Wang, and a lot more of the prominent personalities. So luxury charge a high price because it's a luxury, for not for everyone. You want those people who really can pay have the service and the product that must be in the market. So what is very prominent about this quality leaders such as the Ritz-Carlton chain is they have also to charge the product more, charging more of the products, and they also have to reinvest in their operations and continuously maintain positions as the quality leaders. What are the other objectives? This is number 4. A company also might use more specific objectives. In such, an example, a restaurant may set low prices to prevent competition from entering the market, and they can set prices at the same level as its competition just to stabilize the market share. So fast food restaurants may reduce prices temporarily to create excitement for a new product, like what we are seeing somehow with our famous Filipino fast food chain, Jollibee. So when they roll out new product, what do they do? What kind of market mix they're providing? Like they mentioning how Jollibee was rolling out their product. They're making sure that they attract the customers using all the advertisements, and especially an attractive not really cheap, but an affordable price that they can give the market. The fifth in the marketing objective will be the survival technique. Though this technique has been already practiced even before pandemic, it has been more magnified and prominent during this COVID-19 times because a lot of businesses have experienced this drastic loss or this challenge in all of their businesses, may it be in whatever kind of sectors all over the world. So, what is this survival technique? So, what is survival technique? So, it's when a company or a business sales snap and they create a loss and then threaten its existence. So, when a capacity of a hotel or a restaurant is fixed, survival often involves cutting prices to increase demand and cash flow. And what happened during the pandemic? Some of and most of the businesses closed because they cannot really keep up with the demand that the company needs in order to make sure they sustain the employees, and because of course there's lack of gas, lack of customers. That's why they have a lot of operating expenses incurred, and they were not able to keep up because they don't have any cash flow. So that is a really very sad news for everyone who had downtime during this pandemic. But of course, the government and mostly a lot of institutions are also um, continuing in helping us, in helping the businesses in getting up again. So that's another thing. But if with the survival technique, if this can be disrupted in the market until the firm goes out of business, and when the economy improves, then they can stay doing that measure those steps on changing their policies, on rearranging and modifying programs in order to be staying in the market and to sustain the business itself. So again, at the end of the day, we must always remember that pricing really plays a vital role in helping accomplish the company's objective at many levels. The second and internal factors affecting how we will be able to come up with the right pricing in our product or service would be the marketing mix strategy. So the price must be coordinated with product design, distribution, and promotion. The decisions to form a consistent and effective marketing program relies on those factors. So a firm's promotional mix also influence the price. And an example, a restaurant catering to conventioners receives less repeat business than the neighborhood restaurant that is not advertising. And they must advertise in city guides to conventioners. So managers of restaurants who do not consider promotional costs when setting prices can face bigger problems or experience cost problems. So companies always makes pricing decision first, and other marketing mix is also based on a decision based on the price that the company chooses to charge. So apart from marketing mix strategy and marketing objectives, we have another factor to consider when setting price, and this is what we call the cost. Cost set the floor for the price a company can charge its product, and a company wants to charge a price that covers its costs for producing, distributing, and manufacturing, and also for
promoting the product itself. So beyond covering this cost, the price has to be high enough and to deliver, of course, a fair rate for the return of investments. Example, many companies work to become the low cost producers in their industry. And one of this we can cite is McDonald's, who have developed a system for producing fast food efficiency. So, efficient low cost procedures systems for producing a fast food efficiently helps producers achieve cost savings through efficiency rather than rather than cutting the quality. So companies with lower costs can set lower prices that results in greater market share. Remember, lower costs do not mean lower prices. So some companies keep with low costs and keep their prices the same as competitors. So it provides them with higher return of investment. So, key to remember, lower costs do not always mean lower prices. Some companies with lower costs may have the same price with a competitor, and this will also result with a high return of investment. So, we have examples here of how we operate these costs. Let's take Hyatt Hotel as an example. In a Hyatt Hotel banquet, each meal can be served with salad, rolls, butter, main course, dessert, and beverage. In addition to the food items, the hotel provides linen also for each guest. So these are called the variable cost because their total varies with the number of units produced. Another example would be the Embassy Suite. They recognize their relation, they recognize the cost and their relations to price. And Embassy Suites believes the most valuable guest is not necessarily the one who is paying the highest price for a suite. So, contribution model developed by Embassy Suites now examines costs to acquire and service guests such as room specials, advertising, and associated. Since we are talking about costs, we move on to cost subsidization. What is this? It's actually the act by an organization or other group or of paying part in exchange for something depending on the agreement. Another example that we can set is a destination ski resort. So destination ski resorts such as Steamboat Springs in Colorado and Sun Valley in Idaho and United States will depend upon air transportation to bring guests from a distant markets. In many cases, these ski resorts are served by only one commuter airline during the non-ski season. So here's the question. Do you think they will have sufficient revenue to earn during the season or to keep up with their business? Key in your answer in the chat box. Okay, so did you key in your answers? I hope everyone have shared their thoughts. And let's see. The answer would be, of course, insufficient. This is insufficient for the ski season when the resorts depend upon the daily flights by major carriers. And major carriers are unwilling to assume the entire financial risk of serving resort locations for only a few months each year. Therefore, the resorts and the nearby towns that profit from ski visitors are asked to help ensure that flights will be profitable by guaranteeing an agreed to revenue base for the airlines. So, next, another factor to consider when setting price is the organizational considerations. Management must decide who within the organization should set the price. In small companies, top management, rather than the marketing or sales department, often sets the prices. While in large hospitality companies or other companies, pricing is typically handled by a revenue management department under guidelines established by the corporate management. So let's have an example. For a big large company or hotel chains, hotel marketing plan may contain monthly average rates and annual occupancy rate. And this hotel marketing plan or strategies are being approved by the regional or the corporate office for their plans. Many corporations within the hospitality actually have now their own revenue management department with the responsibility of pricing and coordinating with other departments that influence their prices. Most of these corporations includes airlines, cruise lines, hotel companies or hotel chains, and auto rental companies. So let's take an example again here from the Royal Caribbean Group with their revenue management. According to Mr. Brian Rice, the former director of revenue planning and analysis for Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, and now who is an executive vice president and CFO of Royal Caribbean Cruises Limited. If the average yield at Royal Caribbean goes up by $1 a day, it is worth 5.5 million, and 100% of it goes to the bottom line. So see, based on what Brian said, conservatively, he estimated the monetary benefits just by babysitting the revenue day-to-day basis at Royal Caribbean, and it will cost them $20 million a day. So can you imagine that just seeing conservatively and focusing on your revenue management on a day-to-day basis, then you will really manage to have more profit for your company.